you also need to be very cognitive and aware of the people that God puts in your space. I didn't see you becoming my friend, but every time we get together, I'm fed. You should have people in your space that you can call friend, that can feed you, edify you, support you, encourage you, pray for you, guide you, educate you, and embrace that it doesn't have to look like what you think friendship looks like. It just needs to be good.
Welcome to the Age of Lions podcast, a platform and community dedicated to bringing purpose, strategy, and calling to kingdom-minded people who are 50 plus and excited about their next chapter. Here's your host, Mark Clement.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 37 of the Age of Lions podcast. So excited that you're here with us today. You heard from our special guest right up there at the top of the episode. That's Tasha Simone, and she's going to be joining us for an incredible interview. And you might also feel like that voice just continued on. She's also the voiceover that introduces our podcast each week and kind of gives the summary of what we're all about. And she's a great friend, a longtime friend, and I'll tell you a little bit more about her. But before we get into that, I just want to encourage you to like and subscribe and follow and comment on whatever channels you're listening to or watching the podcast. Make sure you let us know that you're out there. Get that feed into your regular rotation so that it'll pop up whenever we put new episodes out, which is every week on Mondays, typically. And we'd love for you to be a part of that. Also want to encourage you to go to ageoflions.com where you can get on our mailing list, where we send out special notices, updates. I think we're going to start doing some emails with some extra content in it in the next few weeks. So I'm excited about that. So I want to encourage you to get on that list so that you get those things. We're really sensitive about not blowing up your phone, not texting too much or emailing too much, but just enough to give you some extra value and some extra content that will be helpful for you. So make sure you check that out. And you can also learn more about the podcast on that website. So excited to have Tasha today. Tasha is a dear friend of mine. We've been friends for 20 plus years. We met through a work connection. She was a voice actor, spokesperson for a church that was a client of ours. And we met through that. And as we kind of talk about it in the episode, last person in the world I thought I'd be a good friend with for a long period of time and vice versa. But you never know what God has for you. Just over the years, we've just developed a great friendship. We see each other about 2 or 3 times a month because of work things, and we'll get together to film. And so we always are catching up and talking about life, and great friend with Jinda as well, and just one of our favorite people. And she's got some incredible wisdom. We're going to talk about some things tied to race and aging, because she comes from the Black community and that background, and her family, and just kind of the different ways that they look at aging compared to white people, just speaking for myself. And we love to have those conversations. We talk about listening to the voice of God, how He has plans for us, how He loves us. It's a powerful conversation, and I want you to get the most out of it. So get ready for that. Lean in, and it's going to be a great episode. Hey, before we get into it, I just wanted to update you on a couple of things. We just got back from England. My wife and I and our family, we had an incredible time over there with a wedding of her middle daughter, her only daughter, her middle child. Sarah and Seb got married a couple weeks ago. We were so excited to be there and have such an incredible event with them, with his family and all of our family and friends. And just God showed up in some incredible ways. It was a worshipful marriage ceremony and just really powerful, and super glad that we had the opportunity to be part of that. And then some of you have been asking about Luke, my grandson. He's doing great. He's been home now for about a month, and he is thriving. He's gaining weight. He is happy. Mom and dad are happy, and they're just having an incredible time. So thank you for checking into that too. And it was Easter weekend. We're coming out of that. Yesterday was Easter, and just what a powerful day. I hope you were able to celebrate with your family, with friends, with your church. Just all that God has done for us. And we had an incredible service at our church. And it was just such a moving reminder of the price that God has paid for us and how much He does love us. And that really ties into this episode. We talk about how through hard times of change, difficult times, His love is never failing and always evident. How much He loves us, we're never really going to fathom. So it's a powerful, powerful thing. But I hope you were able to experience that and get a lot out of that this weekend as well. And so super excited about what God's doing through the podcast and just through life in general. It's exciting. We got some great guests coming up over the next few weeks. Can't wait for you to hear about those. But in the meantime, let's get into this week's episode 37 with Tasha Simone. And I want you to lean in and enjoy. Have a great time. Hey, Tasha, how are you?
I am well. How are you, Mark?
I'm good. It's good to see you. We've had a challenge trying to get this scheduled, but I'm glad we're finally making it happen.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Between your crazy life and kid being sick and me traveling and all the things, but we are here. We made it.
The main culprit is work-life balance. That's the main culprit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was telling everybody before we got on, when I was kind of introducing you, we've known each other a long time.
We have.
I want to say 20 years.
Yep. I was thinking about it the other day. I said, that's weird. How have I known Mark? Am I that old? Okay, well, I guess I am.
I think it was like 2004-ish, give or take a year. I'm not sure what year exactly we started, but we met through your church.
Yes.
Your church was a client of mine, and you did some work for them, and then you started doing some work for one of our companies, and
a couple of your companies. A couple few of your companies,
That's right. So here we are, and I'm so glad to have you. And I know this is going to be super fun because whenever we're together, we have to intentionally not talk. We have to be like, no, we got to get work done.
Yes.
So now we're actually we're doing this to talk.
Yes.
Which will be fun.
Yeah.
So we always ask everybody, kicking off a couple of common questions just for a baseline. And the first one always is, as you've aged and gotten older, and we all go through some things, like what was the moment for you when you kind of had that aha moment of, I mean, I'm still awesome, but I'm getting older. Like I feel it, or something has changed, or my eyesight, or whatever. What was your moment of going?
I think you're right on the eyesight, because I've always had 20/20 vision. And around turning 40, I had to get glasses. I was experiencing headaches and went for my annual, and I'm like, what? And it wasn't so much that I couldn't see, but it was maybe a slight strain. And the optometrist said, yeah, that's what happens with age. It happens to everyone. And in my mind, I'm like, no, not to me. I'm going to fight this. I don't need glasses. What are you talking about? So that was probably my first inclination. But really, over the past year of my life, with so much change happening, the changes in my reaction to the changes, that has been indicative of age.
Okay. And what's different? What's the change?
Me, I react to things differently than I did 5 years ago. There's a degree of confidence that wasn't there that is now. And it's interesting because I'm not a person that lacks confidence, but it's a different sense of, you know what it is? Okay, I don't know about you, but the elders in my life always say, keep on living, right? So they say, keep on living. But they also, I've seen all of them get to this place of shoulder shrug, whatever. I've earned my keep, whatever. And I feel myself entering that space.
Yeah. You think it's just experience? Like, I've seen this before. It's fine.
I do. I think it's a little bit of, I've seen this before, it's fine, but also my trust in God becoming stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jenda and I were talking about that on an episode that she was on with me, about how if there's any benefit to aging, and there's multiple ones, but the living with God this long and knowing all the things, like he's undefeated, he's batting 1,000. And so the confidence that we do get from that. So I think that's what I'm hearing you say. Like, that's really what it is
Godfidence.
You know, everything's, you know, it's going to be okay. You know, it's going to work out. He's in control.
Yes.
And there's a lot of peace that comes from that.
I'm getting to that place of peace. I'm getting there. I won't pretend as though I still don't have my struggles and that I still don't want my way. But, you know, his ways are not our ways. I'm definitely getting to a place where I react slower. Because I definitely have always been a person to address everything head on. Now let's get to it. I don't like confrontation, but I'm not unfamiliar with it. You know?
Yeah, you're not afraid of it.
I'm not.
Yeah. So you turned 50 this year, right?
Half 100.
Half 100. So, as you're approaching that milestone, and I think of you as one of the most strategic people I know. You're very intentional. You're very thorough. You're thoughtful. You plan. You think things through. Like you're very cognizant. Like life's not happening to you. you're if anything, you're happening to it. So, in that mindset of strategy, how are you approaching the aging journey? And obviously, you've got a long way to go, and you're not old or none of that stuff, but older, and things do change and all the stuff. We're going to get into some of your story here in a minute, but what are you doing, whether that's physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally? Like, what are you doing to age well? What are some steps you're taking to invest in your future that way?
The first step is continuing to take notes from my elders, those that are directly in my lineage. I watched my grandmother age in a very specific way. My great grandmothers, both of them, I had the pleasure of knowing, being taught by them. Things they did, things my grandmother did, but there are things that my mother does right now that I take note of. My grandfather is 92. In a couple of weeks, he'll be 93. He just stopped climbing the roof on his house and pushing washing machines to the front yard a year and a half ago. So there are things that they do that I am very aware of, and things that they didn't do that I'm very aware of. And so there's lots of conversation in my family right now about, hey, I'm not doing that for you. I see you doing it for your father. I'm not doing that for you. So you better keep walking. You better keep going to the gym. And what I have in my family, as you know, are a lot of professional athletes. So there are these nuggets that I get to, okay, even if I'm not implementing them currently, the beautiful thing is that I am planning to. I'm excited about being able to. But even small things, like my mom makes me hyaluronic acid, like they say in the commercial, hyaluronic acid for my skin. Have I used it yet? No. That's one of her recent hobbies. I haven't used it yet, but things like that. Putting into practice your awarenesses. And that's on one side. The things that I actually execute, my mental health regime is very important to me. And so one of the things is consistent therapy sessions. So I think the first time I consistently implemented therapy was over 15 years ago. And around the time of the pandemic, I became more consistent with it. And since then, after experiencing a tremendous amount of grief, it's been more consistent. And so what I've had to realize is that it's not necessary for it to be every week. It's not necessary for it to be like this pinpointed scheduled time. It is when I need it. And there are seasons where I need it weekly. There are seasons where I need it monthly. Sure. There are seasons where I need it quarterly. But what I have decided is it will never go away. I will always have a therapist.
And there's so much power in having a long-term therapist, someone that you've done a lot of sessions with, because they know you and they know the backstory, and
they know all the players.
Nothing worse than you don't have to waste time over explaining anything. They know. It's like a long-term friend, and because it's hard when you switch therapists. If you've ever gone through that, and you have to start over.
I have, and you're rolling your eyes. See, that's age too. I think that's age, because you're like, if you don't know my story, I'm not signing up any new friends. I'm just have to deal with the quirks and qualms of my current therapist.
Right. Just trying to survive what I've already
established.
got.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So all that said, what would you say has been sort of the rewarding part of getting older? What's been the best part to you so far in your very young getting older journey?
I have lived a lot of life, not in years, but in memory making. I really believe in creating. Memories are so important to me. I'm the type of person that cries if a memento is lost, if a photo is lost. My friends call me the keeper of the scrolls because creating memories and keeping them is so important to me. So I've always been a journaler. And I have friends that call me and say, hey, do you remember when we went to such and such and such and such was this year's old? Matter of fact, it happened the other day. I had a friend that said, why can't I find a picture of the three of us? And I said, really? You can't? Maybe you should look at December 21st, So I sent a date and they went scrolling and they found it. And I was like, okay, yeah. So I think that's the best part, how much living I've done. I have seen various parts of the world. I have interviewed, talked with, conversed with, hung out with some amazing people. I've had some great experiences, and now I get to help curate my daughter's life in that way, and help manage her into living life more effectively than I did. And so a theme in our family is every generation should be better than the last. That's something we literally utter to one another. Like, if you ain't doing it better than your mama or your daddy or your aunt, tighten up. There should be aspects of your life that are better.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that you're mentioning that honestly hasn't come up much. We've done 35 plus interviews, and we've talked a lot about elders and things like that, but no one has really talked about it in the sense of family the way you are, and the way I know your family is, just because of having known you so long. And it feels to me like that's maybe a unique experience, because I know even for us, like all of our parents are gone. My grandchildren will never know my parents, like that kind of thing is.
Yeah.
And honestly, most people we've talked to, I think their parents are either deceased or very, very elderly. But here you are with this really powerful multi-generational family that's very active, very close. I know you guys get together a lot, and you'll drive to Atlanta or do whatever to get everybody together. How do you think that's impacted who you are and how you're approaching this journey?
I think it's one of my pillars. If my life is a home, it's one of the posts, one of the pillars of my life. So, and it's interesting because homes are also part of my story. And I think that's the case for human beings in general, where you dwell. So there's been my great grandmother's house in Cleveland, where she used to teach me how to cook cabbage. But she was so short. Mind you, I'm in second grade. She's teaching me how to cook cabbage, first, second grade. And she's having to use a stair step to cook. Okay. So her home, and again, the memories, all the memories, they formulate who I am. My grandmother's home, her mother's home. I used to roll my great grandmother's hair while she sat on the front porch. She used to call for me, Tasha, come roll my hair. Then I, in turn, rolled her daughter's hair. And then in turn, I've rolled my mother's hair. And in turn, I do my daughter's hair. My daughter plays in her yaya's hair. So experiences throughout our generations that tie us together. I used to always spend time with my grandfather in his picking his crops or his pigs biting me. and so my daughter picked his crops. She went out with me and my mother and pulled corn and peas. And so they're just woven into things that I do, habits that I have. Oh, and this is making me so emotional. Okay. Am I going to be the first one to cry on your podcast or have others cried? Jesus.
No, okay. You will not be the first one.
Okay, good. So
I cry almost every week.
Okay, good. My great grandmother had a habit that I didn't know about. And one day I said something to my mother about something I was doing. If I peel an orange, I don't do it all the time, but there are these seasons that if I peel an orange, I will keep the peels in like a satchel in my truck or to keep the fragrance. I'll let them dry out and they keep this beautiful. I love citrus fragrances.
Okay.
And when I told her that I was doing that, she said, "You just like Big Mama." I was like, "What?" She was like, "She used to do the same thing." Another time I mentioned, one of my favorite flowers. It's really my favorite flower, period. Peonies. That was my great grandmother's favorite flower. I never knew that. So generationally, we live on. We live on through our children, our children's children, our children's children's children. My great grandmother on my grandfather's side wrote a prayer for our family. And she talked about the things she wanted to see in the future generations. I didn't learn about the prayer until I was 20 something. But everything she wrote in that prayer has come to fruition for the generations.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just, it's the elders. I am my elders in some form or fashion. This right here on my arm, like this, how my arm is shaped, that is a character trait, if you will, a physical trait rather, of my great grandmother.
Okay.
Just different things about how I move, what we say, what we eat. I mean, like every day I have photos of my daughter with her great grandparents. When we go to my grandfather's house, she always asks, "Who is that lady on the wall and who is she?" Well, that's your great, and we'll sit and try to count it because we don't always remember.
Yeah.
That's your great grandmother. Yeah.
That's amazing. So you and I have through the years a lot of conversations around topics about race.
Yes.
And the differences in race and learning about each other's, I'll ask you questions, especially if the culture is going through a particularly hard time, or I'll see something in people of color and I'll be like, I don't know what that means. I don't understand. And I can think of many examples that we won't get into today, but and so as I was preparing for this and thinking about talking to you, I'm curious because you kind of live in both worlds, so to speak. I mean, you're not just in the Black world, or so you have a very rich mixture of experiences, and so I'd love to hear from you what you think some key differences are between the way Black people age and treat aging and think about aging, talk about aging, whatever that is, and white people. I'm just curious if there's anything we could learn back and forth about that maybe
you want to know
something to avoid or something to do. You want to know
the first step?
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Moisturizer.
I had a feeling you were going to say that, and you know why? Because
you cannot.
I will never forget, and I don't remember how long ago this was, but we were filming something, and you came into the studio and you asked if I had lotion, and or we had lotion in the house, and I was like, sure, whatever, I'll find you some. And I said, why? And you said, because I'm ashy. And I said,
What?
What does that mean?
Yeah, like you cannot.
And you explained that for you guys, when your skin gets dry, the color changes.
It does.
We don't have that problem.
Yeah.
It probably does change. We just can't tell. We don't have anything to see it.
That's the thing. That right there is the key. If you moisturize your skin, the skin is the largest organ of the body. That was one of the first things that my daughter learned. So she was like one walking around telling people 1 and 2 about skin and it's the largest.
Right.
And when you take care of it, you look better.
Sure.
You just look better. You feel better. And it's interesting watching my skin change. I'm in a transition skin wise right now because I'm going, and we all are, but my skin's doing something different right now. So I'm studying it. I went and had a facial recently and some new things were explored. And so that first, moisture.
Okay. Okay.
And I think culturally, Black people are proud of aging.
Okay.
Overall, I think there's a degree of pride. It is rare that you will find a Black person not wanting to have more years. On the white side of my friendships and relationships, I hear a lot of conversations about chasing youth.
Yeah.
Like it's this, I have white girlfriends who want to hang out with their young daughters and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not trying to kick it with her. Let them go on about their business. Why would I keep up with them? They need to keep up with me.
Right. And not keep up with, but it also different activities.
Please.
So we were, because we were at the wedding this last week. You and I were talking about my stepdaughter.
Yeah.
In England.
So dope.
And it was awesome. And, but their whole friend group is in their 20s, as they should be. They're in their 20s. And so the reception and the dancing, and it's not that we don't have a good time and like to dance, that's all fine. But it's their moment. It's their party. And I'm not trying to get in there and call attention to myself or just let them go crazy and have fun, and we can be part of that or be around it or whatever. Like, it's all great, but like, I'm not trying to be in the middle of that or be the center of attention or any of that kind of stuff. Even though they would welcome us in there, it's not that. It's just like, let them, I'm not going to dance like that. there's things I'm just not going to do that is just, it's not wrong if a guy my age wants to do that, but it's just, it just feels to me like you're saying, it's like, there's a difference, and it doesn't make me old to not want to do that. It's just, I don't know, I'm with you. I don't even have a good word for it, but it's just it's like an awareness.
Yeah.
And giving permission and space for them to do their thing, because what I'm constantly learning about myself in this process of aging is I think of myself as much younger, and I still feel good, generally speaking, but I realize they don't see me as young. Mm. Even though they might say I'm youthful for my age, that would definitely be a phrase that would be added. But they perceive us as parents and older people, and our role in their life is not to be their friend; it's to be their mentor or parent or a sage in their life or a advisor or whatever. But I got friends my age. I don't need 25-year-old friends in that way.
You can be in my life and you can be in my space, but we are not in the same race.
Right. And I'm not competing with you. I think that's a big thing. And I kind of intuitively have felt what you're saying.
Yes.
And I had a feeling you would say that, because I do think and maybe not necessarily people who listen to this because
Sure.
they're more in the believer space and
Yes.
probably have a healthier view of aging. I hope that's part of what we're trying to get across here. But I do think in the culture, the general worldly culture, especially for white people, there is this chasing
It is.
youth. And honestly, it makes me sad when I see people doing that to an extreme, especially with cosmetic surgery.
Yes.
And they're practically disfigured, or older people trying to dress a certain way. And you just want to go, hey,
That's not for
that
you.
is not working for you.
It's not for you. Let it go.
Let it go. Yeah, that is absolutely true. What are some other ways that you think are different?
When it comes to the conversations, and talking about your number, there's only one person in my life that I can think of right now that would be shy about saying their age. I think that overall society has pulled away from the notion of a lady never tells her age, right? But in conversation, I have friends that almost pretend to be older than they are. And I'm like, calm down. You have not reached that. Like, we're chasing the wisdom and so just in literal conversation, not just in acting, but because words are so powerful in conversation, there's a difference in how we speak about age. And as a result, too, I have godchildren. I have multiple sets of godchildren, right? So I have college age, young adult, high school, and itty bitty. I have Black, I have white, I have other. And recently, a group of my god babies who are white, we were all having a conversation about something, and I said something about my age. And they were like, what are you talking about? I said, I'm older than your mother. Blown. Confused. You would think that I told them I was 75 years old. No, you're not. No, you're not. Yes, I am. So what I attribute that to is, and this kind of ties to my first point, but my language isn't old.
Right.
I don't speak in a way. So maybe it's the approach. I'm not chasing youth, but I'm aware of youthfulness.
Yeah.
So I know all the TikTok trends. Now I know that also has to do with my profession, but I know the trends. I know the lingo. I keep my ear to the street. So I have a certain swagger naturally because of those motions that keeps me youthful without being desperate to be young.
Right. It's authentic for you.
It is. It is. So I think that's kind of woven into our culture. Black people set a tone for culture as well. When it comes to fashion, when it comes to language, when it comes to certain creative spaces, when it comes to sport, because of the nature of music being one, because of the nature of literary tone at times, we can be in the forefront. So it's not crazy to see a professional athlete that's a Black woman or a Black man sporting something and it become trendy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that plays a role into it as well.
Okay. Well, this is a good segue because you talked about what you've done for a living. And, we kind of went through this together over the last couple of years of some big changes in career.
Yeah.
I'll let you tell whatever part of the story you want to tell, but I'll just set you up by saying, for those who don't know, Tasha was a very successful radio personality for decades, I think, here in Birmingham, and had some syndicated things across the country and other stuff that was going on. And then a couple of years ago, decided to move to a different direction. So tell everybody a little bit about what you did and kind of where you're coming from and what you're doing now. And in that, what I'd love to kind of hear from you about is you're to the point you were just kind of making,
Mm-hmm.
like being a radio personality, I can only imagine. I mean, you're in the spotlight, you're very well known. You probably can't go anywhere in, especially Birmingham, without people knowing who you are and remembering your show
Right.
and probably asking you tons of questions and all that kind of thing. So from an identity perspective, how did you navigate making those changes? You made an intentional choice to go into a different profession when you had the opportunity to make a choice, but I'm just kind of curious how you navigated that.
How I'm navigating it.
What is you navigating? Yeah. Well, what are you, a year plus into the new
A year and
ish?
a couple months. Yeah.
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 So how did you navigate, or are you navigating, and what have you learned, or what are you learning from that process?
Well, I will say that when you have known one career path for over half my life, I have been in media, and you shift from private sector to public sector. So I went from radio to government. I mean, it's two different worlds. It's literally two different worlds. But the blessing that I've had is that the role that I currently have, it requires me to still utilize my professional acumen. So I'm still writing. I'm still using my voice. I'm still publicly speaking. So there's the benefit of God allowing me to land in a soft place. And I'm definitely grateful for that, because this conversation about age directly ties to what happened to me professionally. And so while I have seen this happen to others numerous times, it's only really happened to me twice in my career. Often in media, when an administration changes, corporations want to start fresh. They need to downsize. So I was a part of that shift, and so were several others in our market. What it really exposed me to through experience is a conversation and something that I've talked about on various shows with interns of a certain age. We no longer live in a society where you will be in a career or with a company for 50 years.
Yeah, it is extremely rare.
It's so rare. And the fact that I had a specific career for 30 years in radio, I'm a rare bird, right? In this day and age. And so that transition awakened in me the experience of something that the youth embrace, only know. Like, we know a world without social media. This generation knows a world where they understand they're going to work for 10 companies in 15 years. They're okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this generation. They're okay with leaving a company that's not treating them well to go to another, or leaving a company that's treating them amazing, but there's one that offers something even better. Whereas my generation, your generation, we are loyal to a fault.
Yeah.
I started here. I built this. I'm woven into this. I'm not leaving. This is my baby.
Right.
And so to get back to my career path, I started in radio while in college, and it was never my vision. I wanted to be a cinematographer. I transitioned from wanting to be a cinematographer to wanting to be a broadcast media journalist. I thought I was going to be an anchor. And one day on campus, somebody said, "Did you know she's an intern at the radio station?" Ooh, really? I need to talk to her because I got to get an internship. So the first within the first month of being at the station, I was hired, and it changed my life.
Yeah.
I never looked back. I mean, we're talking hosting thousands of people on stages. I mean, tens of thousands of people. I'm on the mic. I'm hosting. I'm emceeing. We're talking about that type of experience to intimate conversations with thought leaders and politicians, musicians, and being able to sit at the table and impact change through my voice, through my thoughts, right? But because I'm a believer, I'm a child of God, doing it from a space of He said, I need you to be that positive influence in their day every day. So I didn't have the luxury of going to work and being sad. Work was my escape from sadness.
Okay.
Life's frustrations or annoyances. I went to work to get my joy. Because when I cracked that mic, nobody wants to hear Miss Tasha Simone. And here's a song from Usher. No, who wants that?
And it's going to be a sad song.
It's going to be a sad.
'Cause I'm in that kind of mood today.
Slow song, and so is the rest of the day.
Buckle up.
I have been blessed to have something that my mother says to me a lot, has said to me over the years, that I was blessed to have a career that I loved. She was like, not everybody has that. It took her to tell me that, because again, I come up in the era of, I did it because you were told you could be whatever you want to be. I believe them. Whatever you want to be, you can be it. And these are the steps to get there. So I tried to follow the steps. God blessed me and then exposed me to understanding, girl, you are favored, not just blessed, because not everybody has this life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, so that being said, when you made this change, how hard was that? What have you learned through that process? That
God loves me.
Okay.
Now, did I know that? Yes. But it's like He keeps leveling it up.
Yeah. We like to say He's just showing off.
The flex is something serious. Yeah.
The flex. There you go.
Yeah, I'm like, how? Are you sure? I didn't even have enough time to really question, are you sure, God? Was He said, go over here. He sent me, but I didn't even get a chance to take the step that I was told to take because they came for me.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
So that's what I've learned yet again. And we talked about it at the beginning of the conversation that, you got this. You got this. You're in control. Your vision, your Jeremiah 29:11 in my life, and that's not going to change. And does that mean it's going to always be easy? No, because I am having challenges as we speak. But what this transition in my life at this time, in this season, is Him saying, I see it all, but specifically, I see you. Specifically, I see your daughter, and I am here. I'm here.
Right.
And so that has been something that I've been having to hold on to abide.
Man, that word keeps coming up. That is my word for this year.
Is it?
Which I know you don't know. Yeah, and it just keeps coming up over and over again. I know. And I've got a guest coming on in the next month or so named Dwayne Donner, and we're going to talk about that quite a bit because he was a big kind of indirectly, he doesn't know this, but he was kind of a big influence on that. He was a client, and he has a ministry called Abide and Lead. And through hearing him preach, teach, talk constantly about that, I think it's his life verse, John 15:5. And it really just, like, I knew that passage. I'd heard people talk about it, but it just sort of, because we were filming a lot of his stuff, and the more I heard him talk, I was like, oh, say that again. What's this? I actually started listening to what he was saying, and then through my annual kind of process of looking for God to give a word for the year or a thought, and sometimes he doesn't, but this year he definitely did, and it was that word.
That word came up for me yesterday. I think that's why it's on my tongue. I was writing a resolution, and as I was writing, I was seeking a word to describe a pastor and his processes, and that's what God laid on me. And from there, in my sleep, even last night. So this is an example of what you learn in your life, how he's ever present. He's omniscient. He's omnipotent. He is everywhere, all at once, all the time, nonstop. He does not cease. So even when we're sleeping, the Holy Spirit is speaking. He knew that I would be here today, because we talked earlier, and there was a chance I wasn't going to be able to film today. But he knew that, such a time as this would occur. And he knew that this conversation was necessary. Even in this moment, as we're speaking and someone is listening, what we're sharing is blessing them in a way very specifically, is providing something rhema for them right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're always just like, I was, as you were talking, I was thinking, this part we're on this moment that we're in is not about aging. Obviously, this would apply to anybody, but I feel like I feel like it needs to be said that God is always speaking to us, and a lot of times, you probably get this question too from people in your life because you're a spiritual leader and an authority figure to a lot of people. They'll say, "I can't hear God speaking. I don't know," and it's like, well, then it's a listening problem. It's not a speaking.
It doesn't stop.
Problem from him. The signal, to go to the radio analogy, is blasting from that tower all the time. And we're not always capable of hearing because of noise, busyness, too many other voices. We could do hours on that alone. But yeah, he is constantly speaking. And even my little thing I was just saying about hearing Dwayne talk about abiding, like I was working. I wasn't really, what he was saying wasn't the most important thing there. We were just trying to get images, and I think we were filming B-roll, so it wasn't even audio. We weren't even recording him, but God used that as like, and I've just learned when I get that little nudge,
that's right.
However it approaches, it's like, what am I missing? Like, stop, listen,
slow down.
What are you trying to say to me? Because he will speak through other people like this in a conversation. He'll speak through his word, obviously. He'll speak through prayer. He'll speak through the Spirit. But circumstances, songs, a movie, something you see on TV, something you hear another conversation in a coffee shop, like you just don't know. But I have found just personally that when I hear the same thing over and over and over again, there's a reason. There's something he's trying to get through, wherever that might be coming from or whatever it might look like. And I think people get locked into, well, I didn't hear him say it. It's like, well, then again, you're not listening, because it was here, it was there. It was like, if you play back the tape, it was happening all around you. You're just not listening.
That's right.
So you said, whoever that's for.
And you have to be open. I was just having a conversation with a friend who said to me before we got here, we're turning 50 this year, and I just feel like pop, 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 pop. So she's going through her thing. And one of the things that I shared with her it's a few things that came out of it. One, you need to isolate yourself with God. You have to be careful, because the enemy wants you isolated so that you can't hear. Isolated from friends, from family, so you can't have the support and the encouragement that you need. But you need to go steal away some time with God. So we were talking about that. And she went on to share, you got people giving you advice and they're not even doing what they're telling you to do. And I said, but did that mean that the advice was inaccurate or wrong? So we have to be very mindful that regardless of the resource, because God is the source, regardless of the resource at times, you have to keep your ear gate open for him. You have to keep your eye gate open for him. You have to be mindful of what's being poured into those spaces as well. And I'll give an example that I hope you will be able to connect what I'm sharing. When I say you, I'm talking about you, not Mark, you. I had taken a pregnancy test, and it hadn't even been an hour that I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, Zuri. I had to run errands. Now, mind you, the only reason I took the test is because both of my sisters in love were pregnant, and they were cracking jokes like, you should be pregnant too. And I was talking about how I don't feel well. You might be cracking jokes. But again, hearing beyond just the joke, and now I'm calculating, and now I go take a test and it's positive and I'm floored, right? But again, that's me hearing in the spirit. I leave and I go to the Dollar General. A homeless man said these words: I like your maternity shirt. Thank you. I began to weep because you kind of start doubting physical tests. That's a false. Sure. I can't be. No, not for real. That homeless man said, I like your maternity. I wasn't wearing a maternity shirt, Mark. So if you stay open in the spirit, I think that you can make so much progress. You can have so much more peace. You can have so much more joy about life.
Yeah, for sure. And again, just going with the flow here, I feel like it also needs to be said that I think as we are getting older, I think a lot of times people get into this thing of it's too late, or I can't make a change at this stage of life.
She said that today.
Oh, did she? Yes. And there's this thought process of there's not enough time, or I don't have enough energy to make that big of an adjustment, whatever the reasons are. Reasons, excuses, lies from the enemy.
Yes.
But I want to say that in God's kingdom, time is not a thing. He is time. He's above time. All the things. And there's anything can, he can do it fast. He can do it slow.
He is the author of time.
Right. And so if something needs to happen fast, he's capable of getting that done. All you have to do is just be open to the process. So again, that's not in our questions, but it felt like
some of this doesn't need to
someone needs to hear that.
Yes, they do. Yeah. They do.
But and I hate this because I know we could just go another hour. Like I just want to keep talking. So maybe we'll do a part 2.
I'm okay
in the
with
near
that.
Future. But I know we have a hard stop. So, and also I have a piece of knowing that this is not what I thought we were going to talk about, but I know it's what God wanted us to talk about.
Yes. And
so we're living this.
I'm going to add this into the mix, what you just said in terms of it being what God wanted us to talk about. You also need to be very cognitive and aware of the people that God puts in your space. I didn't see you becoming my friend.
Oh, sure.
And we're not friends in a traditional sense either. I don't call you every week or every night or, we've been saying, let's go to lunch for 1,700 days. It's been 1,700 days, Mark. We've been saying, let's go to lunch.
Okay. I don't know how many years that is, but it sounds like a lot.
It's accurate. It's been a long time since we've had lunch. But every time we get together, I'm fed.
Yeah, me too.
You should have people in your space that you can call friend, that can feed you, edify you, support you, encourage you, pray for you, guide you, educate you, and embrace that it doesn't have to look like what you think friendship looks like. It just needs to be good.
Yeah, that's a great point. And on that note, I'll say you have been, for me, just a pillar of wisdom, I would say, for all these years. Like, I think our best conversations are always one of us sharing.
Yes.
It's usually what happened last week or what's happening. And sometimes it's nothing. And sometimes it's a job change or a career change or
children,
relationships, or, whatever, big things. Yeah. But there's always so much wisdom in the flow of this conversation right now that never stops.
It never
It's just a little piece of our long. Yeah. And so I'm really thankful for that. Yeah. And I know a lot of people are going to get a lot out of this today, which is exactly why I wanted you to be on here. So we will have you back and we will continue the conversation, and it'll be great.
Good friends keep us young. Good friends keep us young.
That's right. Yes. That's a good note to end on.
Yes.
All right. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Man, as promised, that was awesome. I mean, just a fountain of wisdom. And I love the way she thinks about things, talks about things, the way she phrases things. Just has a powerful way of saying a thing that, for me, just makes me go, man, I never thought about it that way. And so we're definitely going to have her on again, maybe pretty soon. We're trying to schedule that right now. It could be as early as next week, but it could be a little bit further away. We'll see what happens there. Got some other incredible guests lined up that I'm excited for you to hear from. In the next couple weeks, we've got a guest named David Sumner. David is a guy I've known for a long time. We met in a small group together and have been on quite a journey through Highlands College and some other things, but he leads a thing called Foster Coalition, which is a powerful ministry and also a client of ours, and has some great things to say. Can't wait for you to hear that. And then we've got another guest coming up soon that you actually heard me talk about in this episode named Dwayne Donner. I'm super excited to have Dwayne on. Dwayne has really had a strong influence on me, even though he doesn't even know that. I can't wait to kind of talk to him about that. But he leads a really incredibly successful financial company and helps founders with their businesses and selling their businesses and using the resources that God has provided them with to do great kingdom things. And then he also has a nonprofit called Abide and Lead. That's an incredible ministry that he's got for people kind of in that same world to do great things with the wealth and with the resources that God's put in their hand. He's leading people to be incredible stewards of what God has done for them. And they're a great ministry. Super excited to talk about that too. We got some other really special guests coming. I can't wait for you to hear from. So make sure you stay with us. Every Monday morning we will post and have new episodes coming out. Look forward to you having those from us and getting a lot out of it. And we will talk soon. Have a great week.